Let's bring Larry Sabato in for more on this, director of the Center for Politics at the University of Virginia. Welcome back, Larry. And, I have the tablet here with me. And, we could put up some of the numbers. The Journal poll that I just mentioned, is Biden too old to run? Yeah, 80% registered voters are saying that he is too old to run. And then the Times Siena poll that came out pre and post debate, Trump was already up, whether it was 3 or 6, depending on likely or registered, basically a 3-point swing towards Trump. Post-debate, up 6 and up 9. State of the race right now as we wait to hear what President Biden will do?
Oh, I think if the election were held today, and actually if the election were held before the debate, Trump would have won. We can argue about how many electoral votes, but you only need 270. Everything else is gravy. So this started out badly for Biden, and it ended up worse. I mean, what else can you say? As far as 80% thinking Biden's too old to run, I guess my question is, who are the other 20%? Although I would add, I think both of them were too old to be running for president, and I wish we'd get back to nominating people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s.
And not only that, you can legitimately ask if both candidates are fit to serve, right? I mean, you have in the case of President Trump, you literally have someone who lost a free and fair election last time around and tried to overturn that election. We're not talking about it much this week, but that brings up an obvious fitness to serve question. And the case of President Biden, no matter how old he is, any reasonable person who watched that debate is going to have questions about his fitness to serve. We literally might have a choice here between two people who are not fit for the office. What do you think the president should do in the next few days?
I think he should take time to think about this further. I understand he's been telling staff that he is in it till the end. He's absolutely going to run for re-election. Wrong. That's the wrong approach. He's got that long interview with ABC on Friday. He's got some rallies, political rallies coming up in other states. He's got a press conference, supposedly long and detailed, next week. He needs to see, and we need to see, how he holds up, how he sounds, how he looks, and what else he's got on the schedule. I think everything has to be examined at this point. And to be fair, I think it's true for Trump as well. I think we have to look at these two very old men who are running for president and ask the question, are they really fit to serve? So
let's just say, and on the Biden question, which is the one we're looking at this week, he decides he's not. And he does decide, supposedly the Times says he's already spoken to people about it. White House is denying him. But if he does and he gets out, the potential replacements and the polling numbers, were you interested at all in this? I have it again. We could put it up from the tablet. We knew, Biden and Trump in this particular poll, they were even. The Times poll has it different. A lot of people are talking about the Michelle Obama thing as a headline, but we're not really focused on it because nobody thinks Michelle Obama's running. But what did you think of Kamala Harris in here? I know that, for the last few years, 43, 42 is not much, right? For the last few years, everybody looking at, if it's Kamala Harris, the Democrats are going to get wiped out. And now, I don't know. Those numbers are not bad. What do you think?
Well, you just said it, and I agree with that. And I think I couldn't really see which poll that was, but I know CNN had a...
Yeah, this is the Reuters Ipsos one.
Is that Reuters Ipsos? Well, CNN had one the other day, just a couple days ago, maybe yesterday, with Trump up 47 to 45 over Harris. And again, that's a heck of a lot better than people thought. On the other hand, you can say that we haven't had that much focus on her recently, nor have we had on the other candidates. It's tough to ask about these other candidates because we may know them. We're political junkies. We don't have real lives. We focus on these people. The vast majority of Americans, I think most of them at least, don't know who many of these governors and senators are. So it would be a while before they would have a chance to evaluate and make a comparison with Trump that meant anything.
Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.